Hey guys, Solid FPS here, and in this video I'll be going over my Technomancer firepower build, which got so much stronger thanks to the recent release of the Worldslayer expansion. This build has always been the gold standard in Outriders, as it gets off the ground quickly thanks to a well-designed class tree, and scales incredibly well once you pick up legendary gear and mods in the endgame. Like always, I'll be carrying some of the same relevant info forward from older Technomancer videos into this video so that it's all in one place. Labeled section and the timestamp should be in the video description. While you're down there, if you'd like to support me and my channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that YouTube's algorithm can get this video in front of more people that need it. Thank you. That said, let's get right into it. This is the Technomancer's class tree with 3 distinct branches: Pestilence for toxic-based firepower builds, Tech Shaman for freeze-based turret support builds, and Demolisher for ordnance-based anomaly power builds. The Technomancer starts with 15% additional long-range weapon damage, 15% skill leech, and 15% weapon leech. Your melee skill also freezes nearby enemies. This class is meant for long range and stays alive by continuously doing damage due to leech. It doesn't get health on kill like the other classes. One of the strongest nodes in the top tree is this node, which makes it so that when we apply toxic to enemies, they also receive vulnerability. Vulnerability is a stats effect that makes enemies take 15% more damage. When you take a single marked for execution node in the Technomancer class tree, that enhances the effect by 40%, which means our vulnerability will make enemies take 21% more damage. Firepower Technomancer should always pick up both of these long range reduction nodes. Long range is normally 18 meters and beyond, but with these two nodes, it'll be 12 meters instead. This will allow you to play more aggressively and still benefit from this powerful damage amplifier. Technomancers have a choice between maining assault weapons and sniper weapons in their top tree. Assault weapons are the more practical choice in Outriders, so make sure to pick up both of the assault weapon damage nodes in the Pestilence tree. This node gives us another 10% damage multiplier at the cost of taking 10% more damage. More damage is always great, and since we're a long range class, the downside isn't that big of a deal. Another damage multiplier we can dip into through the class tree is damage to toxic. The Pestilence tree gives us a total of 25% damage to toxic with these two nodes. The final node in the Pestilence tree gives us and our team 30% weapon damage whenever we use a decay skill. We'll be taking advantage of this every time we throw out our blighted turret. Since there's not much else of value in this tree, we'll use our last point to grab this node up here for a passive 12% anomaly power boost, which will at least help our stats effects tick a little harder. Moving on to Technomancer skills, we're maining blighted rounds and filling our other 2 skill slots with utility by bringing blighted turret and cold snap. Blighted rounds are vital to a firepower Technomancer success. When this skill is active, it allows us to apply toxic on every shot, which synergizes with our skill trees and mods to apply other stats effects and dip into a number of damage amplifiers. Additionally, it converts our physical gun damage to anomaly damage, which allows us to bypass enemy armor and deal more damage without needing to invest in armor piercing. Cold Snap is a wonderful utility skill that instantly freezes everything around us in a large area. It also synergizes with our endgame legendary set and mods, which we'll go over later in this video. Blighted Turret is the other Technomancer decay skill we'll be taking, which provides benefits and synergies not listed in the skill description. Turrets can act as decoys, pulling enemies to them instead of you. It also acts as a backup source of toxic for those moments where you made mistakes and let your blighted rounds run out. It has exceptionally low cooldown, allowing you to keep 100% uptime on related class tree and Pax Tree buffs. The Worldslayer expansion gave Technomancer some additional power through the Pax Tree, which has 2 distinct branches. The Desolator branch focuses on increasing damage with status effects, sniper weapons, and ordnance skills. The Overseer branch focuses on survivability, support, and healing with turrets and critical shots. Initial Striker gives us a 10% firepower or anomaly power boost depending on which stat is higher every time we use a skill. Braindead also gives us a 15% weapon damage boost every time we use a decay or gadget skill. These 2 starting nodes can have 100% uptime if you remember to throw out your blighted turret every 5 seconds. Painkiller gives us up to 4% health regeneration for a few seconds after we damage an enemy. Permanence guarantees that we apply a random status effect whenever we inflict toxic. Dissection gives us another 5% damage increase per status effect inflicted on a target. Out the gate, we will already be applying toxic, vulnerability, and a random one due to permanence, so that's at least a 15% damage increase with a fresh build, even more when playing co-op with others. The Worldslayer expansion also gave us this Ascension system, which is a long-term grind similar to Diablo 3's Paragon system or Borderlands Badass ranks. It caps out at 200, but you only really need about 30 to 40 points before you really feel like you've gotten the core power necessary for your build. Just make sure that whenever you pick a node that you invest completely into it before choosing the next, as the nodes give more per point as you reach the max. For a firepower Technomancer, the nodes that matter most are in the prowess and brutality sections, as the majority increase your gun damage in some way. I recommend prioritizing mag size, damage to elites, and weapon damage to start off. Firepower Technomancers have two important goals, one of which is that we must keep blighted rounds active at all times. Now how do we do that? By having one of these two mods in our build. There are two ammo replenish on kill mods that we have to pick from, depending on where we are in the game and if we're playing solo or not. Tier 1 Trick Up the Sleeve and Tier 2 Toxic Lead. Trick Up the Sleeve is the first replenish mod you'll have access to as a new Technomancer. It's also the only reliable way to replenish ammo in multiplayer when you're not the host due to the game's peer-to-peer matchmaking. Toxic Lead is the better option when we're solo or playing as the host, as it gives us more ammo back on kill. Always make sure to have one of these two mods in your loadout. With ammo taken care of, the other important goal as a firepower Technomancer is to scale our damage up as high as possible. Big numbers and fast clears are fun, and this is accomplished with maximum investment in the right firepower and damage amplifier mods. The cycle gives us 5% weapon damage for every 1% of health regeneration active on our character. Once we have the painkiller Pax Tree node, which gives us 4% health regen, this mod gives us 20% weapon damage as long as we're doing damage. Since we're always going to use assault weapons, Dum Dum Bullets is a no-brainer pickup that gives us a free 12% damage with assault weapons. Alchemical Mastery is a new Tier 3 mod introduced with Worldslayer, which is going to take 15% of our status power stat and convert that to weapon damage as long as our blighted rounds are active. This mod should give us around 20 to 40% weapon damage as we get max status power rolls on each piece. Since we apply Toxic with blighted rounds, we'll continue to increase our Toxic damage amplifier with Radical Therapy for 8% more damage, and with Euthanizer for 16% more damage against enemies afflicted by Toxic. Worldslayer also added this new mod called Virulent Compound, which gives us 10% damage to elites that are affected by Toxic. Elites are the tougher enemies in the game like captains and bosses, so this is a very important stat to increase. Another mod we can use to boost our damage to elites amplifier is Captain Hunter for an additional 16% more. In firepower specific builds, we can also capitalize on the Kingslayer mod where our crits on elites and bosses can give us a dramatic damage increase with our weapons. The only other powerful firepower mod that we should aim to have is Sharp Eye, where crits while aiming down sights gives us a damage buff that stacks 3 times. Once you've collected any 3 pieces of the Borealis set and have unlocked the ultimate Freezing Bullets weapon mod, it's time to go all in on the Freeze Damage Amplifier. This set gives us 50% more damage to frozen enemies and 10% more crit damage after using Cold Snap. We can improve the Freeze Damage Amplifier by an additional 8% with the Freezing Boost mod, and an additional 16% with the Shatter mod. One thing to note is that by playing a firepower build, our damage output is mostly single target oriented. But thanks to the Cold Snap and the Icicle Storm mod, smart use of this skill can almost exclusively give us all the area damage we need to clear waves of enemies. It comes standard in the Borealis chest, so you're basically guaranteed to have this in your build. Omen is the new weapon mod added in with Worldslayer. I consider this mod best in slot as it does 3 things: AoE damage, applies bleed, and applies a unique damage amplifier. With the Omen weapon mod in play, the final way to further scale your damage is to pick up the Tier 2 Bloody Boost mod for 8% more damage to enemies affected by bleed, and the Tier 3 Tainted Blood mod for an additional 16% damage to bleeding enemies. The ideal weapon variant for a firepower Technomancer continues to be the Tactical Assault Rifle variant. It has the perfect balance between accuracy, range, mag size, crit damage, and damage per bullet, which is important in filling the DPS role from mid to long range and ensuring that your blighted rounds don't fall off. Starting off, you should look for any assault rifle variants that have high base firepower at your current level and have some kind of tier 2 area of effect mod like Bone Shrapnel or Damage Link. Keep an eye out for Omen and Ultimate Freezing Bullet mods in the 3rd slot on Apocalypse weapons. Once you've secured a decent TAC AR with ideal mods, remember that you can level it up at the crafting table as you progress through Worldslayer endgame. Eventually, you are going to find legendary TAC ARs, one of which is the Inferno Seed. I consider this weapon to be one of the 2 best in slot choices, this one specifically for room clear. It has all 3 ideal attributes for the build, as well as a decent tier 3 area of effect mod. You're looking for either Omen or Ultimate Freezing Bullets in the Apocalypse mod slot to have a best-in-slot combination. The other legendary TAC AR to look out for is the Messenger. It has both ideal damage attributes. It's missing status power, unfortunately, but the Dimensional Rockets mod is by far one of the most powerful damage proc mods in the game. I recommend this gun specifically for Worldslayer endgame bosses, as once your status effects are stacked up, all 4 rockets can benefit from every damage amplifier and burst a boss for millions of damage every 3 seconds. For this gun to be best in slot, it needs to roll either Omen or Ultimate Freezing Bullets in the Apocalypse mod slot. With all these weapons, gear, stats, and mods in mind, it's time to head out and grind Worldslayer endgame. Here's a few ways to speed up the process once you've experienced everything the game has to offer and want to full send your character's development. Early on, I realized that troves didn't really feel worth the time investment compared to the rewards you receive when killing the final boss in Tarya Gratar. So this strat is all about rushing through trials to the end boss and making sure you have 3 attempts left by the time you get there. Once you kill the final boss, simply head back to lobby and requeue back in, which will put you at the checkpoint just before the final boss, meaning that each full trial run to the end with 3 attempts results in 4 boss kills worth of loot. This gets even better once you know someone who can hold a checkpoint for you, or if you have a second account idling there on a second PC or console. I actually purchased a second copy of the game and have it running on one of my extra PCs just to show this. I do a normal trials run with 3 attempts left by the final boss, invite my other account, and then leave and recreate a solo instance over and over until I run out of attempts. Then I just join my alt account's lobby, leave, and repeat. These are my current stats and gear at the time of this video. I'm still looking for a purple helmet with the correct stats and mods, which I expect to see dropping off the final trials boss eventually, as he skews towards helmet drops a lot. I consider my Borealis armor pieces to be perfect, as I have ideal mods in their Apocalypse mod slots. Surprisingly, it's actually not that difficult to have well-rolled set legendaries because the Apocalypse mod slot doesn't have as many options to pick from. Your third Borealis piece should be either boots or gloves, not helmet, because even though they don't come with firepower or status, the default mods they come with are significantly more important. I'm also looking for a better pair of purple boots with ideal stats and with the Cycle or Sharp Eye in the Apocalypse mod slot. This is because if I need to play in a group, I could swap Toxic Lead off my boots with Trick Up the Sleeve on gloves, and be flexible between a solo and team environment. I also believe it's better to use Borealis gloves over the boots, since the boots trove room is right at the start of the trials, so I could spam that room for a perfect roll. I consider my Inferno Seed roll to be best in slot, so the only way it can be better is if an identical one drops with higher base firepower. I've seen at least 30 messenger drops so far, and unfortunately haven't found one yet I'd consider best in slot with Omen in the Apocalypse mod slot. I prefer Omen on bottom because I could alternate between Ultimate Freezing Bullets in the middle slot, or try another tier 3 damage proc mod instead and rely on another source of freeze for the damage amplifier. Some additional boss damage optimization to think about if you're chasing perfection like I am, especially when we're spending so much time killing one boss over and over again. Anyways, that completes my guide on how to properly build a firepower Technomancer in Outriders Worldslayer. Unless there's another balance patch down the road, I doubt I'll need to update this again until I hit Apocalypse tier 40 and have completely best in slot items to show off. If you found this video useful and you'd like to support me and my channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that YouTube's algorithm can get this video in front of more people that need it. You can also join my community Discord. We have an Outriders section in there where people can hang out, talk, and play. Finally, I also pretty regularly stream on Twitch if you want to drop by. All my links are in the description below. Thanks for watching.